Well, while social media has been under scrutiny for its potential negative effects on mental health over the past year, Americans have had little choice but to connect online when we could no longer meet up at local restaurants. We connected by sharing photos of trending dishes or our favorite creations we were concocting at home. So in light of this latest trend, Spencer and Sophia Rascoff, a father-daughter duo, were inspired to develop Recon Food, a social media app that brings people together through a shared love of food. They were moved by the many aspects of social media that felt unhealthy and thought that food was something that brought their own family together during the pandemic, so they wanted to share it. And they join us now. Welcome, Spencer and Sophia.
Thank you.
So great to see both of you. And I told you earlier that I love the fact that you're a father-daughter duo. I was so close to my dad, and cooking was his passion, so I often cooked with him and love that relationship. So tell me, really, how did your family relationship with food and the experiences you had over the pandemic really inspire you to create this app?
Well, during the pandemic, food was something that brought our family together. We were cooking new recipes all together as a family, baking multiple times a week, all the chocolate chip cookies you can imagine. So it was something that we were really able to connect over as a family. And at the same time, we saw food as something that was bringing the whole world together during the pandemic. Like you mentioned, with all the trends of making your own sourdough or cloud bread, it was something that was uniting the world at a time when we were all so far apart. Unfortunately, while social media has its positives and can be used for good, it can be really toxic and really stressful and riddled with bad news and anxiety, and it's just not always a positive experience. And so we wanted to create a social media network that is all food all the time, that you can really get the positives of social media without the negatives. It's food without the fight.
I love it. I love it. And what an excellent spokesperson you are, Sophia. Spencer, you must be so proud of your daughter. That was
I am proud.
An amazing explanation, honey. I'm very impressed with your articulate description of this process that you and your dad went through. So describe to our viewers actually how the app works.
So when you download Recon Food and you connect to your camera roll, so it looks through all the photos that you've ever taken in your phone, and it uses computer vision to figure out which of those photos are of food. It then puts them on a map, and it prompts you to share each of those individually. So there's a lot of safety and security built into the app. And you can share those photos with friends or family. And then when we become friends on Recon Food, you'll follow my food adventures and I'll follow yours. And it's a great way to both discover new restaurants through the map feature and also see what home cooking your friends and family are doing. So we think that by building this single purpose dedicated social app just for food, which is probably the most social activity there is, I mean, it doesn't get more social than food, we think we can create a social media app that really brings the best of social media into the single purpose of food.
Well, and I was going to ask you how yours differs from other apps. And is it really just because, like you said, you think it's just a better app?
Yeah. It's a couple things. You know, when you have a single purpose app in a vertical, you can go deeper in that vertical with the feature set. So for example, LinkedIn is a vertical social network for your career, or for exercise, Strava or AllTrails or Fitbit, you know, those are all for exercise, or Peloton. So those are social networks just for exercise or cycling or hiking. And that allows them to build specific features. You know, plenty of people share food photos on Instagram, and that's fine, but there's this kind of need for perfection on a platform like that because it's horizontal social media. But in a dedicated network just for food, not only are there food specific features, but it's a more supportive environment. It's a lower bar to post because it's just food. And, you know, everyone is there to experience food all together. And so we think this verticalization or unbundling of social media is really the future of social media.
Nice. Well, I know obviously two different generations there. It seems like you've learned a lot, Spencer, from Sophia's world of social media. And thank you so much for joining us, and tell our viewers where they can find Recon Food app.
If you have an iPhone, you can go to the App Store on your iPhone and search for Recon Food and follow my food adventures and Sophia's food adventures there. If you don't have an iPhone, you can follow Recon Food on other social platforms, and we'll be coming to those other platforms soon. But for now, search Recon Food in your iPhone app store.
Excellent. Thank you both for joining us. I'm definitely going to check out your app. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Having us.